Ain't it my favorite time of year? Why does my Halloween costume look like someone who is ready to sell you into a pyramid scheme? But I think that works because what's scarier than capitalism? Hello, I'm a venture capitalist. Be afraid. Sorry. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Imani and I make videos about whatever the hell I want to make that week. And this week I want to talk about sluts and slashers. I really wish I had a better name for that. I probably shouldn't say this because I don't think I can say the word sluts this early into a YouTube video, but I have said it 3 times now. Am I going to bleep myself up? Probably not. I'm too lazy. We're gonna talk about hot girls in horror movies. And not just any hot girls, but the hot girls who like to have S-E-X? I don't think I'm going to acknowledge the whole different setup. It's a Halloween special. It's probably never gonna happen again. But please do enjoy the props. Oh my god. That genuinely terrified me. I didn't expect it. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Enjoy the props in the background. We have the creepy doll. We have the lava lamp. The vibes are spooky, scary skeletons. I do my branding and I do it well. Now let's get into it and talk about one of the most well-known, probably favorite horror movie subsection, the slasher film. We all know the slasher films. I mean, we have Friday the 13th, Scream. What's a slasher film? A gratuitous film full of senseless violence, probably a serial killer hunting down a group of people. Lots of jump scares. Very textbook, easy horror that a lot of people can make. Kind of gets looked down upon for not being that intellectual, but I have to say slasher movies are one of my favorite movies, and that's why I have so many opinions on them. So everyone knows the classic rules of surviving a slasher film. Number 1, don't be black. Kidding, I kid slightly, partially. I don't know, we'll get into it.
Number 1, you can never have sex. No! Big no-no! Big no! Sex equals death, okay?
Don't have sex, because you will get pregnant and die.
Do not have sex. Why? Because those who have sex, most of the time, 70% of the time, will die. And most of the time, they will die and they will be women whilst dying. The slut trope in slasher films is something that has existed probably as long as a slasher film is. She kind of serves as a juxtaposition for the final girl, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the final girl trope, who's like the one person who makes it at the end of the film, and she's our heroine and she's strong and tenacious and managed to scrape her way through the debauchery of the events of the film. We have the final girl, and then we always tend to have the slut character. She is often portrayed as sexually promiscuous bimbo type. Not always a bimbo type, but sometimes a bimbo type, but she always has to be sexually promiscuous. But the thing is, most of the time in these slasher films, the slut character, I put that in air quotes because she doesn't tend to actually have that many sexual partners, which is, you know, the typical definition of a slut. She tends to probably be in a committed relationship where she just enjoys having sex. But you know, apparently that makes her a slut, but I don't know. I don't write the movies. However, before we can get into discussing the relationship between the slut and the horror movie, I'm enjoying saying this word way too much. I don't get to say it enough because, you know, girls supporting girls, we don't say that word here. But then today we can, because, you know, I'm a girl boss for Halloween. We do these things, we're kind of like hypocrites, but it's fine. We love a girl bossing. Hashtag girl boss gaslight gatekeep. Hey boss babe, join my MLM. I digress. Before we get into discussing the relationship between the slut and the horror movie, we have to first look at the horror movie itself and the origins of the horror movie. No, I'm not going that far. I actually don't want to do that much research, bro. I'm fresh out of midterms. I'm kind of just vibing at this point. I don't really want to go far into it. But the horror movie, for as long as it has existed, the horror movie has sort of taken the role of movies that tell moralistic tales with morals behind them, or tales that serve to teach us something about morality. And you might not think about it like that at face value, but looking deeper into it, horror movies warn us of what happens when ordinary people are led astray and let some darkness into their life, or fraternize with the things that we probably shouldn't. Probably engage in some debauchery with some monsters and shit. Horror movies serve as a tale to warn people, mostly young people, about the dangers that lie outside. Thinking about this, in today's modern day, you probably wouldn't be able to see it because our horror movies are different now. But back in the 60s, early to late 60s, the whole 60s, back in the 60s when horror movies were on the rise, it was being done in an era where it was mostly conservative, and in that conservative society, horror movies served as a way of probably keeping people in line and warning them of what happens when they let drugs into their lives, or homosexuality, or what are all the other big bads the conservatives don't like? I say that like I'm someone who endorses drugs and gays. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything. My parents watch this channel. Literally the most Halloween-esque thing happened, and like all the lights just went out mid-filming. And not me using torches to light up my video again. I actually brought my ring back this time, the ghetto. I guess this is on brand for the Halloween video. Just pretend that the lights are all on. The show must go on. A girl boss never leaves her team hanging. I wish I had the clip for when power went off. I don't have it, and damn, that would have been funny. That would have been hilarious. You can only dream. Imagine me squealing in the dark. You wouldn't see much, I'm dark skinned, but you know, whatever. As I was saying, in the 60s, horror movies were super popular, you know, and in the 60s, towards the late 60s, early 70s, this is when we did see a rise in the women's liberation movement in the West. In this movement, we saw women having more autonomy over their bodies, per se. Not like a lot, a minuscule amount. Probably more sexually liberated women, and women who didn't want to wait till marriage to have sex and engage in premarital sex. And oh, girl, electricity just came back.
Hey man, these lights look pretty good. For real, bro. Check out these colors. Hey man, this look pretty good, man. Where your clothes at?
Huh, the powers of the slut. I just mentioned her, and all of a sudden she granted me power again. Thank you. My deity that I worship. I worship the slut. I need to stop saying that word. YouTube's gonna suppress this video. We're just gonna continue. Like, those technical difficulties did not just happen. What do you mean I had to use torches to light up the chaos? Any representations of said behavior, the premarital sex or overt sexuality, was said to promote promiscuous tendencies. And in a genre which has taken the baton to be the moral enforcers, per se, we see that, as I said, those who deviate from the norm were seen to suffer or punished. Thus, those who did engage in promiscuous tendencies that would have gone against the expectation of the time, and some may still say the expectation of today, were punished. Sluts die. I mean, yeah, okay, can I just, that was my punchline. You ruined it. Horror being the moralistic movie or moralistic tales of the time, and still sort of today, it took the position of showing what deviance looks like in society and showing the consequences of said deviancy. And in this conservative outlook, deviancy was, for them, that was the overt expression of sexuality. We live in a patriarchy, so it's not going to be the same, because cis het white men, cis het white men in these movies who exist in the movie, I love how I put that, were or have been or are always allowed to overtly express their sexuality and their aggression, and the consequences are not the same. They're not seen as a slutty guy, they're just seen as a guy doing guy things, and they're not overtly or outwardly punished for it, or there's no spectacle made of their punishment or moral condemnation. However, for females in horror movies where we see them being overtly sexual, tends to happen in a journey from where we see it start from budding desire and lust, and ultimately leading to her fall from grace and her downfall, setting a cautionary tale to all the young girls watching that if you do follow these temptations of lust, you will be led to nothing but the pits of hell. Women in horror movies are seen as spectacle, sexual stimulants who are fragmented and fetishized. Horror is definitely a woman's genre, and I'm not saying that in that women love to consume horror or enjoy horror more than men do. A lot of the pioneers of the modern horror movie or the horror genre have been women. So this is a greatly woman-led genre. Even in a lot of the protagonists we do see in horror movies, we do see more female protagonists in horror movies than we do see for many other movies. You're more likely to have a female protagonist in a horror movie than you would in an action movie per se. If it's such a femme it's not a femme genre, but I just wanted to say that. But if there's so much female presence in this genre, you'd ask yourself why these tropes or these certain misogynistic undertones still exist in the genre. Because in a genre where we have someone such as a final girl character be able to exist and shape the narrative, why would you in that same movie have the slut character who's used to demean and degrade women who are more liberated when it comes to their sexuality? The thing is, I'm not sure about how I feel about horror, because even though sometimes you get your final girl moments where she manages to beat all odds and defeats the scary protagonist who's sometimes male, and there's like symbolism of her defeating the patriarchy in that. Even though we have that, horror movies tend to have a lot of scenes of women suffering, and I know you're gonna say there's a lot of scenes of everyone suffering, it's a fucking horror movie, duh. But there tends to be a lingering on scenes of women suffering, or the female death scenes tend to linger a bit longer, and there's more gratuitous torture in that. And I don't know if that has more to say about the directors or the horror movie producers, or just I don't know who would have to criticize when it comes to that. There's sort of a voyeuristic consumption of the suffering of these women, which makes me wonder how feminist horror can be. Even when it comes to the coming of age movies, where we see the coming of age of a woman, and it's often done through the lens of monstrosity. And I think there's a really good video about this made by another YouTuber. I think I'll link it there, it's there somewhere. I really enjoyed it. It was talking about coming of age and girlhood to monsterhood, I think. I don't know if I said that right, but the girlhood to monsterhood, it's not a pipeline. Well, I don't want to say pipeline. Everything's a pipeline nowadays. It's just so satisfying to add pipeline to the end of a comparison thing. Anyway, there's many movies depicting girls going through puberty becoming monsters, and I don't know if that has something to say about how society views women after they've gone through puberty, or more on how women are expected to be after they've gone through puberty, which is kind of one and the same thing, but I've forgotten where I was going with this tangent. Anyways, safe to say the relationship between women and horror is very complicated. It's feminist, but kind of slightly, but not really, but depends who makes it. But if we are going to talk about the feminist horror, there is no way in hell I can forget Jennifer's Body. Let's get into that masterpiece. Ooh, that is not flattering, huh? Can you imagine? I was doing my video like this. Girl, the embarrassment. Anyway, Jennifer's Body. An absolute cinematic masterpiece. Oh my gosh. Ahead of its era in every single shape, way, or form. For those of you who are not familiar with this absolute work of art, Jennifer's Body is a horror movie that was made in the early 2000s? In the 2000s, if I'm not wrong, starring our queen Megan Fox. I fucking love Megan Fox so much. Anyway, our queen Megan Fox in this movie is playing the absolute gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss, queen, legend, icon, Jennifer Check, who is head cheerleader. Is she head cheerleader? She's a cheerleader. She's a bad bitch. She's killing it. Absolute legend. Mwah, we love her. And her friend, who's played by Amanda Seyfried. The one who was in Mean Girls. The dumb one from Mean Girls. And also Mamma Mia. You guys know who Amanda is. Jennifer in the beginning of the movie gets killed, and in a ritual by some men who are trying to obtain something from her, and in this ritual she sort of becomes a demon where she chooses to eat the souls of men. Not really eat the souls, like literally eat them. Eat men. And that's kind of just a movie. There's more to it, but I'm not going to tell you too much because I actually want you to go watch it. But in this movie, we see something different. I mean, compared to other horror movies where we often see women being the victims of this gratuitous torture or just violence almost, it's different in that this movie, we get to see what it's like when it is the woman doing the torturing. And you know, I love a girl boss. Eminently. In this movie, you get to see it from a completely different angle, in that Jennifer is the villain, and she's not some damsel in distress, and she's not some final girl either. She engages in this activity and she has a moralistic reason behind it. The movie doesn't really go to paint Jennifer as the villain or as someone you wouldn't want to aspire towards, even though I'm not saying that we should aspire towards becoming cannibals. No. My impression of the movie is that we basically see Jennifer as a victim who is seeking out reparations, that's not the word, vengeance, seeking out vengeance for the crimes committed against her. And in this movie, I found myself kind of sympathizing with Jennifer and Amanda's character as well, and the relationship between the two girls. That was interesting. I liked it. More women should make horror movies. Don't even wonder. Just go with it, okay? I'm going for like a theme, a mood here. thing is so creepy. Anyway, so where does that all leave us? Honestly, I don't know. I am quite shit at making conclusions. Every essay that I've ever written knows that. I kind of just want to just like end my train of thought and not ever have to explain myself, but YouTube videos should be sensical and have like a line of thought, so I guess I will finish this. The relationship between women and horror movies is complicated, and the slut trope is deeply rooted in lots of conservative values that are still present today and are kind of used to police and shame women in some weird sort of undertone way. This thing is making me itchy. It's very dusty. Oh my goodness. And sluts and slashers remain a thing. Don't have sex or be black because you'll die first. That's not very uplifting, is it? Don't have sex in horror movies because you will die first. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, don't do it. What else? What other advice could I impart on to the kids? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Really, I just kind of wanted to sit down and talk about something that I really do enjoy, which is slasher films. I love corny slasher films so fucking much, but it's hard sometimes to enjoy it when you simply just can't ignore the treatment of some female characters in the movie. And also how like the final girl is kind of like a I'm not like other girls type of girl. I have a video about that. You can watch it up there somewhere. And logs really do be wilding. It's Halloween, homie. 'Tis the season to talk about the spook. I wish I did make more Halloween themed videos, but you know, when you are in the trenches, you are in the trenches, and midterms was a trip. I made it out alive, but you know, I could only do one themed video, which is a shame because I had plans, but next year is still a year. But with that, we have reached the end of the video. I'm putting this, it's creepy. Yeah. But with that, we have reached the end of the video, boss babe. How'd you like it? Do you want to buy a care package to... No, I'm not going to do the pyramid scheme thing. Let it go, Imani. The M11 bit is not funny. Let it go. We've reached the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like this video. I know you enjoyed this video. How couldn't you? Granted, there was a lot of chaos. It was a journey to get here. I've been filming for 2 hours. You can't tell because a lot of that was mostly technical difficulties. But we move regardless. Make sure to subscribe because why wouldn't you? I'm lovely, I'm likable, I'm charismatic. Join me. I could be a cult leader. Why not? Leave a comment down below about what you think about the sluts and the slashers. I need to get that tattooed. I don't know if that's either the best thing that I've come up with or that's the best thing that I've seen somewhere on the internet, because is any knowledge our own? Maybe I'm just regurgitating shit that I've absorbed. Who knows? Let me know what you think about the sluts and the slashers. What do you feel about the relationship between women and the horror and how they're depicted? What you like, what you don't like? Who are your favorite hot girls of the horror genre? Other than Jennifer Check, because you know she's everyone's #1 favorite hot girl. She is the absolute queen. But you know, this isn't a Jennifer Check fan club meeting, or is it? I digress. Gosh, share the video because why won't you? It's the spirit of Halloween. Let people see me. I like to be seen, obviously, and you should do more seeing of me. Go watch some of my other videos. Go watch the Not Like Other Girls video. It kind of relates to this. Have fun. Go crazy. Go stupid. I'll see you all next time. Bye. Guys, you could not even see the lava lamp this whole entire time. Ugh, what a shame. I actually want you to be able to see it. Wait, there you go. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Happy Halloween, bitches.
It's 5:50 something and I feel so empty inside. The sun is going down, the sky is turning